What's up, StaleMates? What's going on? Welcome back to another episode. It's only right that we break in the van, the Kev Van Dresser, people are saying, with Coach Dresser here. How's it going, brother?
Good. This is different.
Yeah. Have you ever done one in a van like this?
I've done a lot of interviews, but never in a van.
Yeah. How is it? Is everything make you uncomfortable, like the carpet and the lights and stuff? Well, or are you good?
I'm probably old enough to remember the old shag vans, but this is definitely classic shag right here, and the heat really works well too.
Yeah. All right, so we're outside Hilton, which I don't know if you can see it from where we're at, but on the way up here, I was worried the whole time that this van wasn't going to make it, because I've literally drove this van, I think from Pleasant Hill to here, it's about 30-40 minutes. So I've drove this van about 30-40 minutes. We got gas right as we got into town, the first exit. After we got gas, we started driving down here. It wouldn't go above 25 miles per hour.
No.
So I don't know if you know anything about vehicles, but we're gonna need a ride home, maybe.
It'd be a slow trip back to Pleasant Hill, right?
Yeah. But we made it here. We rolled it in. I actually almost pulled over before we got here, and I was like, should we try it? And he's like, no, just get it in the parking lot, and that's all we need. So now we're here.
I know people that have wreckers, so we can get you out of here.
Okay, you got the hookup.
Yep.
I like it. So You're coming off of a big day yesterday. You guys had the finals of Wrestle-Offs. I'm kind of familiar with the Wrestle-Offs at Iowa State. It used to be over at the Lead, right?
Yeah, we've done them at Lead.
And then it's always usually like one day, right? And then to this time it was last week and this week. Was there a reason why you wanted to do that?
Well, we have a big roster, and so I just wanted to give everybody a shot to compete and show their stuff a little bit. And then obviously being in a crazy year like we're in, just getting guys matches. So, everything's a little, try to make everything a little bit more real, since we obviously missed November and December. So we'll probably even, we've got some more eliminations to do. And it'll be a very fluid situation. And so I think we're going to do some matches even possibly on the 31st, December 31st, New Year's Eve day. We'll try to do something as well. So, yeah, we're just kind of trying to get to see who the guy is for the first weekend. And, the cool thing about this year for us, and this is maybe tipping off fans a little bit for what college wrestling might look like this year, is that I know here we're doing a lot of A, B team matches. So, we're going to wrestle Wartburg on January 3rd, and it's going to be our number ones against their number ones, and then we're going to follow it up with our number twos against their number twos. So it's going to kind of be like the good old high school days where you have a JV match and a varsity match, and then we're even going to do, I think, 5 exhibition matches after that. And so that's going to kind of be the tone as we go, and we're going to do the same thing. We wrestle Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, very, very similar kind of setup all year.
Wartburg, they were on the first original schedule, because I know back in like April or something like that, not too long after that Nationals got canceled, you did release somewhat of a schedule. There wasn't dates or anything, but there were teams. Wartburg was originally on the first one, correct?
Yes, we've been, even before all this started, we had Wartburg on the schedule, and so we're excited to, obviously they've done a great job in Iowa, and I think it's cool to showcase different levels. And so
is there any worry, like me being a Cyclone fan? I remember when Grandview came to town and almost beat the Cyclones a few years ago. Is there any worry about that?
Well, hey, anytime you step out there and compete, there's always a worry. But no, it's just so early, and seeing how, obviously we got down in a lot of places to our number one guy for this first match against Wartburg, and I told our guys many times that just because you're the number one or the number two guy, the first weekend, doesn't mean that's going to be the way it is as we go into the Big 12 tournament. So. Really, I think a lot of coaches, we all like to win, but I don't know if the mentality right away. We're just glad to be competing, and sure, we want to beat everybody we compete against every weekend, but ultimately we want to find the 10 best guys that can help us, go get a trophy this year. That's the goal. You don't want to get
Raging Cajun, like the football team, like the first week of the year. I think they might have overlooked the Raging Cajuns, right?
We're not going to overlook Wartburg. No, they've always had a good program, and we know they'll come out and compete. And they come into a place like Hilton, and they've got everything to gain and nothing to lose, and so our guys need to recognize that. But I think your job as a coach is to put your guys in tough situations, and so that's a little bit of a tough situation in that you got to protect your turf a little bit.
Yeah, and then another thing, before the season started, I was really excited too, and I was going to hopefully try to get a ticket to the Humboldt duel. Is that something that's
That's probably put in the back burner
Right.
for a year, but we were excited to do something up there. Coach Urslin's a humble guy. I'm a humble guy. We really had a good event set up there, I think, right after Christmas or right before. I think it was right before Christmas. It was like the 23rd, like would have been yesterday or today, and we weren't able to do it. I think it was yesterday. It would have been. But I think we're going to try to do it again if everything goes well. We'll try to do it next year about this time.
Was that your idea? Because you guys are both from Humboldt, right?
Yeah, I think I got to give the credit to Coach Ursulin. I think he approached me about that, and I think maybe maybe the high school coach, Coach Beeman, might have approached him about it. But when he said something to me about it, I said, yeah, anytime we can wrestle a quality program. I mean, it would have been 2 top 10 teams against each other this year. That would have been cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It sucks that the Big Ten is treating it how they are. Was there has it been known that they're not gonna wrestle? Like, we haven't even seen any big. Is there one Big Ten schedule that's even out yet? Are they wrestling? Do you have any sort of like insight to that?
I don't know. You know what? I haven't seen one published Big Ten schedule, but I know the rules and the parameters they have to follow this year are they can't compete outside of the Big Ten, so it's just going to be a Big Ten schedule only. And obviously they have a great conference, so they'll get plenty of reps in before it counts. But so that kind of all went away 2 months ago when we were obviously negotiating with Iowa and some other people to possibly go. And I know a lot of Big 12 schools had Big 10 schools already in the schedule, so we had to reshuffle the deck.
You mentioned Iowa there briefly. We got to bring them up, right? When you decided to come to Iowa State, was there any sort of did you even think about throwing in a coach that wasn't a former Hawkeye, or were you that's just how the cookie crumbled?
It really was how the cookie crumbled. I had obviously great experience with Coach St. John. Metcalf kind of came out of nowhere. It was just a weird conversation between some common friends and how that got going. But no, it wasn't a situation. I think you just have to hire the best people.
Yeah. Somebody online, I think it was on Cyclone Fanatic or one of the forums, they said that bringing in Metcalf, it's like when you get beat up by the bully for your whole life, and then that bully marries your sister, and you just gotta like the guy now.
Yeah, you got to deal with him at Thanksgiving and Christmas, and so. Yeah, Metcalf's been great for us, though.
Yeah, I know. I'm a big fan now. Metcalf fan now.
Right.
Yeah.
It
is what it is. But I want to talk about the duel in 2018. Iowa State loses by 1 point.
Yeah.
I was there. I was excited the whole time. I was in the top. Cyclone Cyclone shirt, everything. And I'm we started off the duel hot right away. And all the Hawkeye fans are kind of sitting around looking at me because I'm standing up cheering. I'm probably the only guy in the whole section, cheering. And they're kind of looking at me and they're like, just wait. And then all of a sudden, it's still close all the way up until the end. But at 1:57, you had David Carr out there warming up. Was there any chance that you were going to throw him out there, or was that kind of was that some checkers or chess going on?
No, it was really, we had no intention of pulling his red shirt at that point. It was more about having him do the weigh-in process and experience in Carver Hawkeye, because we knew that it was just going to be a matter of time or years where he was going to be back in a place like that or in Carver Hawkeye to wrestle. And so you got to feel that place, because you put a singlet on and walk into that building, you got to know what you're in for. And so that was just maybe a little bit of a, hey, here's what it's going to feel like. Get some of the nerves out of there. And
had he wrestled, though, I feel confident that he would have won, and then we would have won the duel. Was there any, in hindsight, that would have been worth it, or you're like, nah, I like how it's playing out?
No, I think obviously you got to do what's best for the kid. We all like to win, and especially when you're talking about rivalries and an Iowa State rivalry, everybody. But it's funny you say that, because I had a lot of emails when I got back home, like, why do you pull his shirt? Why don't you wrestle him? So I get it. I mean, there was
0% chance that you're like, I'm sending this guy.
No, there was a 0% chance we were sending him out there.
Dang.
Even though it was tempting.
That was a huge question of mine, because I'm sitting up there, I'm like, he's going. I think he's going. He's warming up. He's going. But anyways, I felt like after we left that duel, I know you're not gonna like this as a coach, but I felt like we won the duel walking out of there.
Yeah, it was a great college duel to watch. I felt good about the way we performed, but dang, I hate to lose. And it doesn't matter, what building you're in. I'm sure it's always a little sweeter to beat your rival, but dang, we were right there. I probably still wake up on that one a little bit thinking there were so many chances and so many ifs and buts, and but we all have those. Every year we got a couple of those.
Yeah, this year I've top 10 team. I think most at least I think all the rankings were in top 10 this year, right? Let's talk about the lineup a little bit. At the wrestle-offs, you had some pretty impressive freshmen out there. 133, I know Gomez is kind of not really in the picture right now. I don't know what's going on, but Zach Redding, true freshman, went out there and got the spot. That's cool to see. Cam Robinson as well. Super excited about that one. But at 197, a lot of people want to know what's going on with Younger Bastida. Is that how we say his name?
Yep.
Cyclone Nation has to get to know this guy.
Yeah. It's exciting to see the upside of a guy like Younger. I mean, and really in NCAA terms, Cam Robinson, Zach Redding, Younger. I mean, all these guys in NCAA terms are really like seniors in high school because this year doesn't count, and they all have 5 years left. And so, to think that these guys are already competing at a college level, those three guys, their upsides are so high. I mean, you got Cam Robinson and Redding that are just kind of babies that don't have any hair in their face. Then you got a guy that's really mature.
Hold on a second. Relax.
They got a guy, and you got a guy that's super mature like Younger, but obviously, literally 35 days ago was the first he learned the folk style rules 35 days ago and never ever had wrestled. This is his second folk style match, and both of them were wrestle off. So he's got a big upside there as well. So it's going to be exciting to see him. And we got some competition right now, and that's really what we needed to get to. We got some competition. We got some young guys. We got some old guys that stepped up, and the room's just much different than it's ever been.
It's like when you first got here, I felt like there was a lot of turnover and guys that left that were with the program for a few years. That you see that a lot when coaches change. Do you feel like you got your group now? Like these are your guys?
Yeah, absolutely. And the group that we had, or when you bring in a new coaching staff, you inherit a team. Weren't bad guys. They just weren't our guys. I mean, they weren't bad guys at all. And it's got to be a fit. And we have very few of those guys around. I think Ian Parker and Cole Bray and Gremmel might be the only guys that were around that are still around. I might be missing one or two, but so yeah, I feel like we definitely kind of got our team, and this was a really good recruiting class that we're getting to see. There's some other guys in that class that are really good. The Terrakina kid from Hawaii is going to be really good. I hate to start naming names because I'll forget somebody, but I'm just we're super pumped about the depth we've got right now, and the guys are going to have to fight their tail off to make the lineup right now, and it's going to be a very fluid environment for a while until we decide who the guy is in February. I want to keep them competing for the spots as long as we can.
Are we going to see a lot of like flexibility because it's the whole eligibility thing this year? It's like a free year, some people are saying. Are we going to see you kind of taking risks, maybe throwing a guy out there against somebody that's a lot ranked higher than them and stuff like that to try to see, kind of test that water a little bit?
I think we're going to play. Yeah, I think we're going to play this year with the lineups a little bit. I think everybody's going to play. So, we'll see. I'm a lot about how they perform in practice. I'm a lot about how they maintain their weight through the week, and the guys that have attention to details usually get their hand raised a lot, and so we gotta do that stuff well.
I want to pick your brain a little bit on the outside of Cyclone wrestling world, so just the wrestling landscape in general. We're seeing a lot of these RTC cards, the rock fence stuff, the independent stuff with that Track's doing. Is that anything that Cyclone RTC is kind of planning, or some secrets or anything like that? I think, first of all, let me say this. I think you owe me an exclusive because Metcalf leaked a monkey out of a bottle. I do a radio show on ESPN 1350 wrestling show, and I specifically told my co-host Scott, I said, do not bring up this dresser interview because I don't want it out. Metcalf gets on, Scott kind of brought it up a little bit, and boom, it gets out. So I think you guys.
Did it actually get out?
Well, it was on air.
Oh, really?
But I don't think Metcalf. You guys leaked something. I get to leak something.
I don't think Metcalf knows he leaked. I don't think he knew he leaked. So
yeah.
You can't trust him.
Okay. Well, I try to get an exclusive.
Exclusive. No. So I think the one thing that made the Big 12 schools situation a little different is the Big 12. All these conferences have chosen to handle things differently in COVID. The Big 12 decided 4 months ago that they weren't going to let any in the sport of wrestling, our guys couldn't participate in any of those events.
Yeah.
And so it was just a Big 12 rule. I mean, the Big 12 rules were a little bit different this summer for training. Like we couldn't, the Big 10 and other conferences where guys were getting together training. We couldn't even train our team all summer long. We had to be out of our facility. Our facilities at the Big 12 were locked up all summer, and so that was just a difference. And so we're not, I think the Rockfin thing and all that stuff that's going on is great. We'll probably look at it, maybe in the postseason just to kind of see how it evolves. But dang, we couldn't do it as much as we wanted to. We couldn't do it.
Can you do like a folk style one at all, or does it have to be? Because there's like this thing going around, like it has to be freestyle rules because RTCs are for Olympic sports and folk style is not an Olympic, form of wrestling. Can you do folk style ones?
Right now, it's my understanding that you can't do folk style, but really, I haven't really done a deep dive into it just because we couldn't do it. So I'm like, why do I need to spend a lot of time at this? Because the answer is no.
Do you think it's like a rich get richer thing? Like how is like a smaller school, Division I smaller school, supposed to compete with like Kale and the Nittany Line Wrestling Club and what they're doing?
Well, obviously, a lot of these RTCs are using those events as fundraisers because they are generating funds. The way that they're, the way Rockfin's put together, and even Flow's paying RTCs to use their athletes. It's a way to raise money. So I think if you got guys that are that caliber, where Flow calls me up all the time wanting to use our RTC guys for this event, for that event. Joe Cologne's getting ready to do something, and before Kyvan was hurt, he did a couple events, and so we've got. Those people are obviously looking for content, looking to make money, and they're using RTC athletes. It'll be interesting to see how this NCA image likeness stuff goes and how this could evolve guys at the college level right now. So if they want to use 5 blue chip guys that still have eligibility left, how are they going to monetize it? I think it's probably going to get to the point where you can actually start and writing checks to the guys. You know?
Do you like the direction that's going?
I probably don't know enough about it. I just know that it's going to make the athletic business tough, and the ADs are really going to have a hard time navigating this, I think. So, because basically it boils down to this is, Joe's car dealership down the road here, instead of writing a check to Iowa State, they can write a check to David Carr and put David Carr in their commercial. If that's the direction that we're going, then it makes raising money for those institutions even harder. So I don't know. I think I hope they slow down and think of things like that before they ramrod this thing through. It
seems like recently in the past like few months, the Cyclone RTC, there's a lot of new faces around the room. You got the Canadian, what's his name?
Jasmine,
and then
we got Turtok, who's from Mongolia but wrestled in the States and in college at the Citadel, was a couple-time All-American at the Citadel. We've got Kyvan, we've got Joe in there right now. Yeah. So we're getting
Joe was a big one. How did that come about?
Well, timing's everything, and gosh, I love Troy Steiner and I love everything that's going on. I think they were doing an awesome job at Fresno, and then they get the plug pulled on him, and Joe's looking for home, and he's not making any money, and so we were able to get some good donors on board that kind of were just huge Joe Cologne fans, and he's been training with us for a month now, and man, he's awesome. It's great to have those postgraduate guys touch your guys, and been a really good thing.
Yeah, they are they allowed to wrestle with the Division I guys and stuff like that?
Yeah, they're allowed to train with you, right?
Cool. Do you think it's really helped, like Joe Cologne being able to roll around with Mackel or Gomez and stuff like that?
Jeez, that's the secret sauce right there. You look at all the great programs. I was at Iowa back in the day, and in our room of just the Hawkeye Club guys, you started competing with those day in and day out, shoulder to shoulder. Geez, when you get out there, at the NCAA tournament, it seems like a day off. And that's what we've got to create. So our room's super tough right now compared to where it was, and that's ultimately what's going to make us great. Is we got to have a super tough room. Even just bringing in some of the guys we signed this year. Like Jared Dagan said something to me, I think yesterday morning or maybe the day before, and he goes, "Wow, this is the first time I've had a wrestle off at Iowa State that I got to be on my game."
Yeah, that match was a close one. Did you see it kind of going that way?
Oh, watching him in practice, we knew right away. Cam Robinson, the first time he scrapped in Ames, we knew this kid was going to be pretty good.
Where's he out of again?
He's a Council Rock North kid, which is he doesn't like to say the Philly area, but it's the Philly area for me. He says he's not from Philly, but he's 45 minutes from Philly, so I'm going to round him off to Philly.
Another guy I was going to ask you about is an incoming guy next year. So he just came off a Super 32 match where he got DQ'd. Panero Johnson, but if you watch the match, it was
a bad call.
Terrible call.
That was a terrible call.
What do you think of this guy coming in?
Super athletic, comes from Erie, Pennsylvania. His high school coach was a Cedar Rapids Prairie guy back in the day, and was my roommate at Iowa way back in the day, and then ended up transferring to Edinboro. So Mike Hassey coaches Erie Prep, and I think Erie Prep was second in big schools last year, and they've been in the hunt for a while. And so obviously Mike and I have remained friends, close friends over the years, and so I've been watching his guys. So we obviously had a little bit of inside info on Panero, but Panero's a super talent, and looking forward to getting him to Ames. And Pennsylvania's just hoping they'll have a tournament this year.
Yeah. Has it been, obviously it's probably been a lot harder to recruit. Is there anything that you had to do differently that you maybe didn't like doing, but you had to do it anyways? Or what was it like recruiting in this like super long dead period that happened?
Yeah, recruiting's been interesting. I mean, we haven't recruited since early March. Haven't been on the road, haven't done anything, so we've been doing a lot of Zoom stuff. Some kids have showed up on campus just driving around town by themselves and their parents. So it's been really different. I mean, we've done really well. I mean, recruiting is a funny business. Sometimes you work a long time at it and you don't see any results, and then all of a sudden you get a little bit of a windfall, and we've kind of had a windfall lately.
Yeah.
And so I think our efforts of putting, years and years in kind of paid off a little bit more this year. We've got, a really good senior class. Obviously, we got a good class that's freshmen right now at Iowa State, and then, we've got some big verbals already out of the junior class we can't talk about. But
go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, we can't talk about it.
What about transfers? Because the NCAA said something not too long ago, like last week maybe, that they basically can be eligible immediately. Did I get that right? Did I read that right?
Yeah, you can. Kids you see a lot of kids go in the transfer portal, and it's usually right after the season, like in March, and if kids transfer at the end of the semester in May, you'll see. I think you're going to see more kids jump around, even in wrestling. I mean, basketball it's huge, and football it's huge. Wrestling it hasn't been so huge, but there's always a few.
Yeah, I actually have a recruiting story about you that I don't think you would know or remember, but you were down in Missouri recruiting. I don't remember. It was like a year or so ago, so I'm not letting the cat out of the bag on anything.
Mm-hmm.
And my cousin helps out at a club down there, and he went to go take a picture with you, and he said he wanted to do a selfie, and you're like, no, let's just do a regular photo. I had the same story over there, Jack Trice Stadium. I'm in the crowd, and I'm sitting kind of close to the student section, but I'm one section over. And I think we happen to be sitting where a lot of recruits were, because I want to say David Carr maybe was a freshman or he was a recruit. And I'm wearing Iowa State sweatshirt. My mom, she's a super Iowa State fan. She's next to me. And I look at you and I do like one of these, and then you look at me and you're like, you recognize that you saw the sweatshirt and stuff like that. So you said hi. And my mom, she didn't say your name or anything. She just was like trying to sneak a selfie, and you saw it. And then like 2 minutes later, you actually jumped up, walked up in the crowd, and you're like, "Wow, let's take a real photo." So you're not a big selfie guy.
Yeah, I think I do remember that. I remember somebody wanted to do a selfie, so I said, "Let's go up in the crowd."
Yeah.
So I just took a picture with her.
Yeah. Well,
that was your mom?
That was my mom, and
Oh,
I was right with her. And then like a few months later, you go down to wherever, I don't want to say where you're going, but my cousin had the same story, not into selfies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're
old school.
Yeah, I'm old school, I guess. Yeah. So, heck, when you're out and about and on the road and stuff like that, you appreciate the wrestling fans. They like to be involved, and so that's a fun part of the job.
I got my picture. That's all that matters.
That's
the
a fun part
selfies
of the
is just
job,
kind
yeah.
of semantics of it. But all right, have you on here. I like to talk about some of the drama and stuff that goes on. We started this podcast, this YouTube show back in March, and I wanted to start it for a long time, but one of the first things that I really practiced, like a rant, I went on a rant. I was driving down the road. You got into some trouble. I'm a big Kevin Dresser fan, so I go on this rant defending you. The Last Chance Open. So that whole thing kind of helped spark what was going on.
What do you mean that wasn't controversial?
To me, it wasn't. I don't think there's anything wrong with what you did or what happened or how it played out. When that happened, so first of all, okay, when that happened, the whole thing, was it Marcus Coleman's bracket that really fell apart?
that's what got everybody excited.
Broderson got and like he was sick or a wreck or something like that, and then that was the one that was really, I think, screenshotted, put on Twitter. Everybody was saying, we're cheating.
That's my guy. Kerry Colott went nuts and turned on me in social media, so I'm still hunting him down to this day.
Yeah, I see. And you guys went back and forth a little bit this summer. You did like a Q&A, and you jumped in the chat a little bit.
Yeah, I got even with him a little bit.
But when that happened, once Coleman's bracket kind of fell apart, were you immediately like, oh great, this is going to get put out online and everything, or you didn't even think about it until you got online later that night and saw people were...
The whole story behind that was, I'm maybe not the smartest guy in the world, but I'm not stupid either. I was very calculated in that weekend, and what people don't know behind the scene is that we started the Last Chance Open just
to give our guys before too.
This was the third Last Chance Open, and so we did the whole thing. The reason we did the event was because it's always in late February, and if you know anything about, we have a big room. We got 40 guys in the roster, so you got 10 guys that are starting, and basically in January and February, I don't think there was one open tournament. So I'm like, man, we got to keep these guys motivated and excited. We got to do a tournament. Being at Virginia Tech, there was a lot of opportunities for our athletes in January and February, but nothing here. That's how I started the Last Chance Open. And so, what I ended up finding out is that other coaches were bringing their athletes in and basically working the system. I'm not throwing them under the bus. They were smart in working the system, and I mean weighing in guys, not wrestling, weighing in guys, wrestling one match, pulling them out. And the reason they were doing it, obviously, was to get guys in the NCAA tournament. So after the first year of the Last Chance Open, I got put on a committee at the NWCA convention with the NCAA. And so I just shared my results. I said, hey, we had 3 schools last year that came in and did this. I said, so I think we need to change the system. All right, nothing. And this is the NCAA, nothing.
Right.
Then the next year, nothing. So last year I said, well, you know what? If we're gonna do all this work and you're gonna put me on a committee and we got people gaming the system, then you know what? I'm gonna game the system.
Right. So you like, for you weren't even thinking about it because it happened. You had even tried to bat a little bit. And for me as a fan, my whole rant was like, it's not cheating when you don't break the rules, right? It is what it is.
Yeah, it's funny. So within 2 or 3 days after that this year, I got a phone call from our Big 12 commissioner, and he said, hey, I just got off a phone call with the NCAA on this whole tournament this last weekend. And I said, yeah, what did you find out? And he said, well, let me ask you. I said, before you tell me, I said, did I break any rules, Bob? And he said, you didn't break any rules. He said, but man, they're changing all the rules next year. And I said, well, you know what? I was on a committee for 2 years. I tried to give you my input, and I told you it was happening. Nobody listened to me. I said, so this is probably a backhanded way to get it done, but we're getting it done.
Do you see yourself as like I don't know what the word would be, but you might have been the reason the rules changed now. So the way that you did it kind of helped it.
The rules completely changed now. Now you don't get credit wrestling your own guys. Now you can't bring a guy in, weigh him in, and default him out of the tournament and send your guy to the nationals. I mean, we had 2 Big Ten schools that brought guys to the Last Chance Open, and I'm not throwing them under the bus for it. I'm not going to mention their names just because I don't want to look like I'm throwing them under the bus, but they came in, weighed their guys in, and left, defaulted one match and left, and they got 2 spots for their conference that we didn't get, that we could, where somebody else could have got. So I just didn't think it was right, and that's what I reported in the summer when I was in the committee. I go, I just don't think this is the right message to send, that we can have these people drive all the way from Big Ten schools to Ames, weigh in, we take their $40 for entry fee, and now their kid gets to go to the nationals.
I mean, we saw it happen at a Big Ten school where we're talking about the same thing. Yeah. Do you think they're going to call it like the Dressel rule now?
I don't know what they'll call it, but I don't. Sometimes you don't sign up to make friends. You just.
That was
my way. That was my way to make a point, and obviously the whole 184-pound bracket just blew up because I always said my backups beat. I think Minnesota and South Dakota State had some backups in there, and I really never thought that my guys would keep winning and get to the point we did. But all of that stuff right there really kind of got out of control. But hey, there was no rules broken. You know what? My job at the end of the day, just like the rest of those coaches, is I got hired to perform at the NCAA tournament. The only way you can perform is you got to get your athletes to the NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. So if you're doing something there, even as much as people might not like it, and if it's within the rule, then you're not doing anything wrong. If they don't like it and it is the rule, then the rule needs to change.
Yeah,
and that's what I think.
Haters are always going to be there.
Oh, haters hate.
Yeah.
Haters hate.
I'm gonna end it on this. I did get you a gift. I did an interview with Tom Brands. I gave him a shirt. I got a shirt for you. All right.
Cool. Yeah.
This is you can't go and tell Pollard or whoever because it's not officially licensed, but it might not be Iowa State affiliated.
Okay.
So hold on a second.
I don't even know how that licensing works.
This is Last Chance Open Tournament champion. Right?
That is
Are you a
awesome.
size large? Will that
That
work?
is awesome.
All
That
right.
is so good. Yeah.
Now's a good time to plug it. You can actually buy that at
Yeah.
StaleMates.bigcartel.com. If you want to rep it, we won the tournament. We're going to own it. It is what it is, right?
We had a lot of champs. We had a lot of
champions.
A lot of champs, and we did it at Gilbert High School. That's where my kids went to high school and everything. So now we just have to decide. That was the question. Was that's the funny part of the Colot thing. He was out traveling around and they wanted questions. So I tweeted out to him, "Hey, what's the chances of you guys coming to the Last Chance Open this year?"
Yeah, that's what it
That's
was.
what it was.
Yeah, I love it. That thing did that. We tweeted about that a little bit. It got a lot of love because, that's what, at the end of the day, it's all fun and games,
Yeah.
right?
And I told Kerry he could be on the seating committee this year. So we'll make sure the seating committee isn't just one guy.
Everybody
which
will
it was
be happy
last year.
now.
We'll get a wide seating committee, so
Yeah.
it'll be seated properly.
Yeah, well, Coach, thanks for coming
Yeah,
on.
thank you. What a cool thing. When I saw your van, I'm like, man, I can't say no to this. I haven't done an interview since COVID. This is the first interview I've done since COVID.
I
so.
feel honored. I
Yep.
feel honored. You said if I buy the van that you'll do the interview. So immediately the next day I was like, I bought it and I sent you a DM. I was like, done.
Dang, I said when you did that, when you sent me the pictures, when you already purchased, like, man, there must be good bit money in this StaleMates business.
No. Now I gotta spend a bunch of money probably on a transmission or something like
Yeah.
that. I don't know anything about cars, but thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like. Check out Iowa State Wrestling this year. I'm excited. I'm going to be virtually there in the crowd every game. Hopefully, I don't know if you guys are matchy. Hopefully, you guys have some sort of cardboard cutout or something like that.
Yeah.
I could send it to you. You could put it up there. But thanks for coming on. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks.
Yeah, you guys are doing a great job. It's cool to see somebody kind of go from. It's kind of in wrestling. I say I like to see guys go from zero to hero, and you guys are making a difference right now. That's cool.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say too. I think you might have been the first Division I coach to follow us. Maybe you keep your ear to the streets a little bit.
Yeah, that's how you recruit.
Yeah.
So.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, man. Thanks.